to another episode of The Positive Side on RVNTV. This is Ann DeSantis. It's always great to be here. And today is an excellent show because I have Nadine Vogel. She is the CEO of several businesses and one foundation. And I will list them off. We have Springboard Consulting. We have the Disability Mama, WIP Group, and also the nonprofit, which is Springboard Foundation. So I want to welcome you, Nadine.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for having me.
On the positive side. So she is on the positive side, for sure. You're going to learn about that. So, Nadine, I wondered if you could just start us out with, you have three businesses and one nonprofit. And just if you could tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and how that all happened.
Absolutely. So my goals for my career was always corporate, go up the corporate ladder. I spent 19 years in corporate with a financial services company when my first daughter was born. And she was born with significant disabilities. I quickly learned that there were a myriad of issues I needed to know and learn, but one was about financial planning, that you have to do it differently. There are federal laws about leaving people with disabilities assets directly. And here I was working for this large financial services company, and we didn't talk about it. Nobody seemed to know anything about it. So I wrote a business plan, and I became what I call an intrapreneur. And we created a division of the company that focused on educating families all around the country and then around the world on planning for the future when you have a child with a disability. So it was taking, a very negative situation and turning it into a positive, not just for my daughter, but for everyone like her all around the world. And then it had a positive impact even on my own career, which wasn't necessarily part of the plan, but it worked out, as I think most things do. And then over time realized that there was just more to do and started Springboard Consulting to help companies mainstream people with disabilities in the workforce, workplace, marketplace. It was because of my daughter when she first started looking at colleges that I realized there weren't scholarships for college students with disabilities, so we created the foundation. So each thing builds upon something else.
Yes. Now, I know you were originally up here in New Jersey.
Yes.
And we were just talking before the show started. She's in Florida now. I'm jealous because it's nice and warm there.
Positive side.
The positive side is that you don't need that winter coat.
Right, exactly.
So I want to invite you, my viewers here, to go on your phone if you have it right there, and you have to check out consultspringboard.com. That's the one that the main that's the main website. I mean, there's websites for all of them, but if they go there and they can contact us, we can help them in any of the areas. Yes, so consultspringboard.com.
Yes.
So backing up a little bit before the show started, you were sharing with me a poem.
Yes.
And I thought maybe you could share that with our viewers because it does give a little bit of a leeway and an insight into families that are dealing with children or family members that have disabilities.
Sure. The poem is called Welcome to Holland. And it was handed to me. My daughter was just a few days old in an intensive care unit. And every parent who has a child with a disability seems to get handed this poem. It was written by Emily Pearl Kingsley. She was a staff writer on Sesame Street at the time, had an adult son, has an adult son, but he was born with disabilities when she wrote it. And for time purposes, I'll just give you a short synopsis. But the idea is that you plan your first trip to Italy. You've never been there before. You learn the customs, you get the guidebooks, you plan for a year, the day comes and you board the flight, you have a great flight, and when you land, you're so excited, the pilot comes on and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Holland." And you think, whoa, I got on the wrong flight, right? That's okay, I'll go back. I'll wait, I'll go back and go to Italy. And you're told in that moment, not only can you not go back to Italy right now, you'll never go to Italy. You will have to stay in Holland for the rest of your life. And you watch people going back and forth, and you grieve for the fact that you can never go there. But what you learn quickly over time is that Holland is a beautiful place. It has windmills, it has tulips, and it becomes a new normal, and one that's just as beautiful, if not even better than you ever anticipated. And whether it's like myself, have a child with a disability, or maybe it's the death of a spouse, or the loss of a job, financial crisis, it could be anything that you can relate to your Italy and your Holland. And embracing and accepting Holland is that, it's the positive side. It's understanding that, with anything that happens, there's a real positive to it. The problem is you have to be willing to take a step back and appreciate it. Because you can keep fighting against all the negatives, and that doesn't really help anyone.
No, it doesn't. And it's interesting because when we talked at the beginning of the show before it started, I said that my daughter's graduation, she just graduated from college this past May, they read that poem.
See?
And I just, it hit me in the heart, you know, because it's really what life is all about, you know? We have these expectations.
Absolutely.
Right?
I deliver keynotes all over the world, and I often will open with that poem because you're right, it's about, and here's what's funny, you just said expectations. So my older daughter who has disabilities, she's 28, she actually does keynote speaking now, and she titled her presentation Expectations. And she talks about that when she was born, the expectations for her life were based on doctors and nurses and her parents, and that we imparted expectations on her over the years so that when she was old enough, she could have her own of what she could do. And then as she became an adult, it was the expectations of professors and, you know, in college, and then the expectations of employers. And this journey of expectation relative to disability and relative to, are we looking at the negative side or the positive side?
Or the positive side. That's right. And that's why, partly why you're here on this show, is that we're going to talk about that positive side. And as I mentioned, she has 3 businesses and a nonprofit. So as we said, Springboard Consulting, the WIP group, also the Springboard Foundation is the nonprofit, and Disability Mama. So I wondered if we could talk about that.
Absolutely. So Disability Mama is about educating, empowering, and celebrating women. We've added men lately, but women all over the world that have children with disabilities. And it's, again, we use the term celebrate, right? So when we want to educate, because when you come into this world suddenly of having a child with a disability, there's a lot of information and resources that you need. So we want to provide that. But we want to also empower them to realize that there's amazing things that they can do, not in spite of, but because of having a child with a disability. And then when they do those amazing things, we want to celebrate them. And celebrate them, celebrate their child. We've seen special needs parents create businesses, create accessible clothing. I mean, just all kinds of things, not in spite of, but because they have a child with a disability, and either it's a way to help that individual child, but more often than not, as a result of that, they're helping millions of others all around the world just like them. And so that's what Disability Mom is all about. And at the same time, it's educating companies, corporations, about how to embrace those individuals who work for them, who are caring for that child. Because approximately 10% of today's workforce is caring for a child or other dependent with disabilities. So what is the impact of that around, you know, whether it's mobility, promotion, employee benefits? I mean, there's so many things. Feeling comfortable to bring your whole self to work and talk about that child, right? You know, we talk about work-life balance. I think in my case, what I like to talk about is work-life integration. Right?
Good word.
Balance is difficult, integration is positive.
That's right, because that's what it's all about. Everybody's equal. I mean, we're all equal. It doesn't matter, even though we maybe say the word disability, it doesn't mean that there's not an equality there, right?
Right, it's about, you know what, it's about embracing people for who they are and giving them the same opportunities to be successful. Whether it's in business, it's at home, it doesn't matter what it is. People are people first.
That's
the disability, whatever else it is, comes second.
Thank you for sharing. And that website, can you give that the website for, or is that off of the consult?
So no. So Disability Mama is www.disabilitymama.com, and I'm head mama. So I hope you'll come talk to us.
Yes, that's great. That's great. I love that some of the words you are using: integration, celebration, education. I mean, also important in bringing that message out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if some of our viewers are watching and they want to somehow be a part of this or help the mission, is there something that they can do that would be able to help the mission?
Absolutely. If you know, the best way to reach us for any of these businesses really would be info, INF as in Frank O, at, it could be consultspringboard.com, info@disabilitymama.com, info@thespringboardfoundation.org, or info@thewhipgroup.com. In any of those cases, you can reach us and we can talk about how you can get involved, how you can empower and celebrate and educate and do all these great things that I feel like we're doing.
That's so good. Thank you. Now, I know that the other one is the WIP
yes, the WIP group,
correct? And how was that born? How did that come into existence?
Oh, wow, that's a fun story. So we were contacted earlier in the year by Harvard University. And it was the Kennedy School in particular, and they reached out and they said, you know, Nadine, I interviewed you about 18 years ago when you were in corporate, and I didn't remember. She sent me a transcript, 70-page transcript, and she said, I've been following your career, and we'd like to develop a Harvard case that could be taught not only by Harvard, but colleges and universities around the world about your career, your life, what you've done. After you had to pick me up off the floor, we did develop the case, and it was published a few months ago. I think this week a video actually was released to go with it. And it was so successful that actually now there's a second case that's in development with the Harvard Business School, looking at it from the time we started Springboard forward. So the other one kind of went up to that point. But what happened as a result of that, I had an opportunity to go to Harvard, meet with 60 of the most influential women in government and business. And just as a result of that, we started getting contacted by companies and organizations. Can we help them and work with them in all of these different areas? And so just decided that, yes, we can do that. We'd be happy to do that, but it should be out of the WHIP group. And that was really how the birth, I guess I would say, of that organization.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
We do have to take a break. We'll be back in a couple minutes on the positive side on RVNTV with my guest, Nadine Vogel.
Thank you.
They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Hi, welcome back to The Positive Side on RVNTV. And DeSantis here with my great guest, Nadine Vogel, who is the CEO for 3 businesses and 1 nonprofit. I'm going to just repeat those again. So they are Springboard Consulting, Disability Mama, the WIP Group, and also, which we're going to talk about now, is the Springboard Foundation. And you can find information if you want to take out your phone, check it out. It's the springboardfoundation.org. So tell us about that.
So the Springboard Foundation has only one mission. It's to provide scholarships to college students with disabilities. What I learned when my older daughter was first going to college and we were looking for scholarships, I was amazed that there just really weren't any around and for students with disabilities. It was very few, and it was usually very disability specific, if you had a hearing loss or if you had X. So got together with some folks and said, we need to do this, right? And it was also because companies tell us that often they're looking for college educated folks no matter who they're hiring, but when they're looking for people with disabilities, they still need that college background. So it was a way to further that as well. And so we have two types of scholarships. We have general scholarships that are $1,500.
Oh, wow.
But the more important one is our named scholarships.
Okay.
The named scholarships are $2,500. A company provides a minimum of 2 scholarships, so $5,000. And when we award it in their company name.
Oh,
now,
good
not
idea.
only do we do that, but then what happens from an employment standpoint, we make an introduction between the student and the company in hopes that maybe there could be an internship or a job opportunity. So kind of taking it a step further to, again, further that mission of employing people with disabilities. So it has a few parts to it.
I like that because it doesn't end there.
Exactly.
In other words, you're building, as you said, it's like an integration and building those relationships, because isn't that what business is really all about?
Absolutely.
Building a relationship
Absolutely.
to support those individuals and families who do have
Yes.
children or adult children that have a disability.
Absolutely, and so we have, it's interesting, the funding, so we have the named scholarships that companies do, but we have special needs parents funded, we have adults with disabilities who say, I benefited from something like that. It's really wonderful.
I like that so much.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking at the break about a special event. It's called Disability Matters. I'm sure it's on that main website, correct?
Yes.
Which is
Consultspringboard.com.
Springboard.com. Can you tell our viewers about that?
Absolutely. So Disability Matters is going into its 14th year. We have, it's a corporate event. We have one in North America, one in Asia, and one in Europe every year. And in North America, it's 2.5 days, brings together approximately 300 corporate executives just focused on the issues of mainstreaming people with disabilities. It's a main stage event, and the pillars are education, inspiration, celebration, and networking.
Hey, it's the same that we just talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's having companies share their best practices, especially on the awards piece. It's honoring those companies that are doing great work. And in part, we find when companies are doing great work, it's because they do see the positive side.
Thanks for bringing that in.
Absolutely. Of hiring people with disabilities, employing them, of marketing to them as customers. And what's really wonderful, another outshoot of this was about a year ago, we created something called C4DI, which stands for Chief Diversity Officers for Disability Inclusion. And these are corporate Chief Diversity Officers that really understand that positive side, that positive nature of employing people with disabilities or marketing to them. And they've become signatories of this program, taken a pledge, and have committed to furthering the mission of this work, not only in their own companies, but taking the word out and helping others understand and embrace it. And we have Chief Diversity Officers from Intuit, from Colgate-Palmolive, from Cisco Systems, from University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, Freudert, big organizations that have really come together to take this stand.
How far you've come. I mean,
It's really
if you don't
cool.
mind my asking, of course,
Yeah.
but when this all started, like how long have you been in existence starting with Springboard?
Since 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been
Grown
an
so much.
amazing, amazing journey. It really has. I am so fortunate because how many people in this world get to do something for their profession, day in and day out, that is so personal to them, right? I mean, I get to talk about my girls because it's just part and parcel of what we do. Everyone at Springboard Global Enterprises either has a disability or is caring for someone with a disability. We all come from that corporate environment. We all understand the unique nature. So everything we do, I like to say it's our purpose, but we come to it with a passion and a very personal passion.
It goes back to those words you said: education, inspiration, celebration, really celebrating the people who have disabilities.
It's just celebrating life.
Celebrating life.
It's all good.
I see it in you.
It's
I see
all
the
good.
positive side. Yeah. So, and as far as how has it affected your daughters? Because I know that it's so close to them, this whole mission.
Right. No, they, when they were old enough to understand, especially again my older daughter, whose disabilities are more significant, when they were old enough to understand, I explained to them everything that we do, why we do it. I think it really helped them, especially when they were younger in school and I was always traveling and running, it really helped them understand why I wasn't home, what I was doing, and how meaningful not either was to them at the time or could be in the future, they got to hear others talk about what it meant to them. So I think it helped them see the positive side of their own disability, if you will.
I like that. And I appreciate the fact that you're integrating the word, she's integrating the word, the positive side, which of course the name of the show.
Absolutely.
And what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to repeat again those websites and the names. So we have Springboard Consulting, which is consultspringboard.com. We have the WIP group at the WIPgroup.com. And this foundation, which is thespringboardfoundation.org. And can't forget about disabilitymama.com.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's right. Do you find that you work with one or in one of those areas more than you do the others, just on a personal level?
You know what's interesting is that none of us are one thing. So what any of them could start out, we're starting out with, professional women, executive women, and we're having a training program, and as an executive woman says, I have a child with a disability. Well, then it goes to disability mama, right? Or we'll have an executive woman or a women business owner we're working with WIP who has a disability themselves. So somehow it all ends up interconnecting, which I think is the beauty of it.
It is. And it makes it sounds like a family. The people that you work with, is it? It
is. Springboard Global Enterprises, we refer to it as the Springboard family.
Excellent. I wondered if somebody's watching and you're interested in what Nadine does and you're interested in this mission, what can they do to help? I know we talked about everything, but there's some things they can do to help.
Absolutely. If someone is a business owner or they work in a large corporation and they want to learn how to bring accessibility or any kind of disability related learning and practice to their organization, whether workforce, workplace, or marketplace, to just contact us, and then we can kind of talk about what the process is and where you can start, how you can integrate some of this work. With the Springboard Foundation, we're always looking for people who want to join our board. We have an advisory board, we have a junior board, we have lots of boards for folks that maybe just want to volunteer and help us raise money, or maybe they want to become a donor. And if they're a company, maybe they want to create a named scholarship. So there's opportunities. There's so much. With Disability Mama, we're always looking for folks who want to help us have some small community events where we can bring special needs parents together.
Oh, I love that.
And to talk and celebrate. So if anybody has, either the space or the ability to do some half-day events, we're always looking for that. And for the WIP group, I think it's, if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, an intrapreneur, you run a company and you want to know how to really elevate women. Maybe it's you're trying to elevate yourself, or there are leaders within your organization that you're trying to elevate in a variety of ways. Then that would be, again, just come to us. We can talk about how we can help, and by you bringing us in is how you'd be helping your organization.
So much.
Just so much. Yeah. It's all good though. It's all good.
It's all good. So what about the future? I wondered if are other new things developing? I'm sure they are.
There's always new things developing. In November, actually, I'm flying to Rome. We are developing we were asked to develop a curriculum for European University in Rome for executives around issues around disability. And so it's launching, and I'm flying there, and I'll teach the first couple of classes. So there's always new things coming. For Springboard, for everything we do, we like to say it's world domination, right? Okay. We want to bring all of these good things and all of this education and practices to everyone, everywhere, any type of business, any industry, because it's going to benefit either that individual, culture, their company, society. That's what it's all about. That will be hopefully my legacy.
I think it is.
Hopefully.
I see that happening now.
Hopefully.
So again, just to repeat the event, now is there one that's coming up?
Yes, so Disability Matters, it's the Disability Matters Conference and Awards Gala. Our European conference is coming up in November. It's going to be in London. And then our North America conference, the next one will be in April in Alabama. And on the Springboard website, you can go to events and look up any upcoming event. But here's what's also really interesting. They can actually see the entire event, the entire video, of every event that we've done in every country for the last 14 years. They're all on the website. So.
Oh. And did the events start from the very beginning? Did you always have these events? Like
they
from
started,
2005?
I think, probably about 4 or 5 months after we launched. Yeah, I in the middle of the night, as I usually come up with ideas, in the middle of the night I had an idea to do something like this. And the very first one was about a 6-hour event in Manhattan, and we had 67 people. And now we're all over the world. We have about 300 people, and it's 2.5 days. So it's grown tremendously.
I'll say.
And you know what? Not because of us, not because of Springboard, but really because of the amazing clients that we have, the amazing individuals that are out there, professionals that believe in what we do and want to contribute more. Yeah.
So a shout out to the people who are possibly considering being a client too.
Absolutely. Come on down.
That's right. Now, I can't believe it. I say this all the time, but the time goes so fast, especially with Nadine Vogel. She's so positive and doing so much. So I want to thank you, Nadine, for being
Thank
a
you
guest.
so much for having
I invite
me.
you to come back.
Absolutely.
On the positive side.
Absolutely.
We will see you next time. Have a great day.